John, let's talk about some of the players that I think have had good camps and then maybe some guys who haven't. Moro Ojomo, John, I want to talk about him for a second. He continues to impress and put together a really good training camp. And
I made a big mistake today.
Oh, what's that?
The Eagles were backed up. It was that competitive period, and they had to get 4 yards to win, and they drew Moro off sides, and they were so happy. It was crazy. They were so proud of themselves. We were on the
only way to stop Moro Ojomo, John, is to get him to jump off sides.
We were on the sideline with the offense, and everybody was just congratulating each other. It was funny. So yeah, he probably heard it from Vic too. You didn't want to jump off sides at the 2-yard line.
No.
But he did. And so nobody's perfect, but yeah, he's had a very good summer.
John, I'm optimistic he can have as good of a year as Milton Williams had last year.
Well, I've already called you crazy on that one, but yeah. I
don't see anything in camp that would show you that you think he can get at least close to that?
I don't think.
I mean, remember, he is playing next to Jalen Carter. You know what I mean? Like, he does kind of have a really good – he's got Zach Baum behind him. He's got Jalen Carter next to him and Jordan Davis, who's going to eat up blockers. I mean, he got the pieces around him to thrive versus Milton. You know, maybe it was a little bit better with the edge rusher with Josh Sweat on the other side of him. But Milton's not going to have –
For whatever – I think, I think if that was Milton's third year, for whatever reason, because he left – I guess it's not for whatever reason, because he left and he's no longer a part of the team. Way too many people in Philadelphia are downgrading what he did.
Why is that downgrading? How am I downgrading what he did?
By comparing players that you don't have a lot of experience to what he was able to do last year. Like I said,
it's not like
I think if that was his third year instead of his fourth year and the Eagles still had one more year, I think people would never shut up about Milton Williams. That's how good he was last year. So that's, and by the way, if it was his third year and he was going into his fourth year and he was coming back, I don't even think Milton Williams could replicate what he did last year, probably.
Yeah, but if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I'll hit you with that. The classic if. I mean, it was his fourth year. It took him 4 years. You know, I don't know what you want from him. He's gone now. I don't think I'm being disrespectful by saying Ojomo could potentially get close to what he was. I mean, the Eagles didn't even identify him as a I don't know. What do you call it when they want to keep a player around here? You know, he was below the demarcation line
No, he wasn't.
Dude, they let him walk, John.
They let him walk. There's 26 million reasons why they let him walk.
All right, so whatever.
They wouldn't let him walk.
I guarantee you they don't walk away from Jalen Carter, whatever the number is. It could be 40 million they'll fucking pay.
That's the point. That's the point. That's not CJ. That's not Dallas. If he was 15 or under, they're fucking keeping him.
15 or under? That's not even realistic, though.
Well, that's the point. It's not. He wasn't under the demarcation line. He's under the shit we can't keep him line because you can't pay 2 defensive tackles that level of money.
Yeah, but
they're thinking ahead.
That's what creates the demarcation line. Okay, who can we pay? Who do we want to
pay? No. There's a difference between CJ and Dallas and even Josh and Milton. And Milton was about pure money, and he got too much money. They were trying to sign him desperately, but he bet on himself, and he hit a grand slam. He didn't hit a home run. He hit a grand fucking slam.
Well, that I agree with, but I certainly don't think it's crazy to say that.
They were trying to extend him for the entire time he was eligible, and he knew he was going to get an opportunity because Fletcher retired to play more, and he bet on himself. That's not the same as the other guys.
Yeah, but what does that just Moro Ojomo stepping up?
No, but to your aunt and uncle analogy, the point is that, He's not the same player. Well, you can cross your fingers. Everybody's going to listen to me, and believe me, they'll put it up if I get it wrong. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. He ain't having that year. I don't think Milton would come back and have that year. I already said it. That's why he ain't having that year.
How good was this guy last year that you're talking?
Well, that's what
fucking Aaron Donald. I mean, holy shit! I've never heard you talk so highly about a player in my life. Milton Williams was he historic last year? Am I missing something? I mean, I know he had a good year, but I don't know. Was he the sixth or seventh?
First of all, I talk about Myles Garrett. I talk about Micah Parsons. I talk about it. I'm not talking about it like that. You're just going out on a limb to try. I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm trying to say his year last year for the Philadelphia Eagles was phenomenal. And for whatever reason, people don't recognize it as you're doing right now because he's gone. If he were here, you'd be head over heels in the guy saying how good he was last year. Why wouldn't you? That's what I'm saying. And now you're trying to talk yourself into a guy who's got 400 fucking reps in his entire career, talking into having that type of year. Anything's possible. If you're a betting man, I'd steer a pretty opposite direction. I mean, the guy's been beaten up on Tyler Steen too. Like when people shit on Jalix, you don't get to beat up on Tyler Steen.
Yeah,
he's running into Jordan Mailata every day. Part of the reason Azeez Ojulari looks so bad is because he's running into Lane Johnson or Jordan every stinking play. And Josh Uche, when he does flash, it's against Kendall Lamb and then against those guys. He's beaten up on Tyler Steen. And again, the Eagles don't rotate their defensive tackles much, as Ty Robinson pointed out. He's been beaten up on Tyler Steen. Just put that context into it.
Who the hell did Milton Williams beat up on last year?
Other teams.
Probably closer to Tyler Steen.
With some other teams with some good guards, some bad guards, and everybody in between.
Yeah, and he had a streak. I mean, he wasn't perfect every game. I'm looking at his grades right now.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, I know that.
Jalen Carter's not perfect. Hall of Famers. Micah Parsons isn't perfect.
No. But the original point, John, was can Moro make an impact like Milton made last year? You've dismissed that as to be an asinine thinking.
I think it's unfair, just like Vic laughed at the Jalix Hunt
stuff. Maybe statistically,
I think it's unfair.
But I think the impact thing is not unfair.
I think statistically, I don't give a shit about. The impact is what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why Vic laughed when people brought up the Micah Parsons shit with Jalix Hunt. It's the same thing. It's irresponsible is what Vic called it. It's unfair.
Okay, well, you get on Eagles fans' backs about how we grade Jalen Hurts at the last two games of the year. I'm looking at Milton's grades right now. His two best grades were the last two grades of the year. All the other grades were good. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player, but he did not deliver a performance last year that was, you can't replicate it. I don't think that's that crazy to have a hope that Moro, again, he might not land on it. I don't think it's that far-fetched. To say Moro Ojomo is going to be like Jalen Carter, yeah, you're fucking nuts. To say he could do what Milton Williams did last year next to the same two guys that he was next to, why is that really that crazy? Well, Ojomo did play 400 or 500 snaps last year.
Milton played, whatever, 20 games, whatever. It's the 13th best defensive tackle in football. You're talking about grades over that extended period. Week 1 counts the same as Super Bowl. Over that extended period, he was the 13th best defensive tackle in football, according to the grades you're citing. As a pass rusher, He was fucking number one. Number one. So do I think Ojomo is going to be number one? I don't. But hey, have at it. I don't care. Have at it. I'm saying it's unfair.
Okay, so how good?
And by the way, I think Ojomo is a good player. It's unfair to expect that out of him this year.
How good's Milton Williams going to be in his new location?
Well, he's not. I don't think he'd be as good. I just said.
No, I
don't think he could be as good. I don't think he could be as good running it back here because career years are career years. Yeah, you don't generally have a career year and have another career year and then have another career year.
I understand that. That's not the point I'm trying to illustrate. I'm trying to illustrate that I believe that the team he was with last year and the players he played next to played a large part in his ability to produce at such a high level. Now Moro Ojomo has slotted into that spot with Jalen Carter, with Jordan Davis, with Nolan Smith, with Zach Bond behind him, with the secondary there. I have a feeling that Moro Ojomo is going to have a good setup around him to be able to thrive, John.
What is the difference between every name you mentioned and not adding Milton Williams other than he's not here?
Well, I didn't say Milton Williams wasn't a part of that, but do you not think that Milton Williams benefited at all from the players next to him?
Well, I think everybody benefited from Milton Williams who played next to him as well.
So you think Jalen Carter benefited more from Milton Williams than vice versa?
I didn't say more. I said benefited from playing next to Milton Williams. I said, everybody. Certainly Josh Sweat.
How it works. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys.
Certainly Josh Sweat deserves to be in that conversation as well.
Oh, I definitely
agree. Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, every single one of them. Every player they lost, even Isaiah Rodgers and Oren Burks, because they not only performed at a high level, they performed at a high level, even role players, which is very, very rare. Special is special. They had a special season, and everybody contributed. Is Jalen Carter the most talented?
Special though? Like it wasn't that. Did he even make the Pro Bowl or the All Pro? Like anything? Did he get anything? Was he recognized anywhere for anything that he did last year?
What? Can I ask why that matters?
Because you're talking about him, John, like he had this insane season. I don't think it was that insane. It was good. He had a great year. Congratulations, he got paid a bunch of money. I don't think it's insane to say, can Moro Ojomo do that?
All right. So you want to cite his grades when you want to make a point, but you want to ignore his grades when they don't support your point. Again, I'm looking at the number. So 97 interior defensive linemen were played enough to be graded as pass rushers. And Milton, by the way, is not the best run defender, very similar to Javon Hargrave when he was here.
Right.
But as a pass rusher, 97, and he was number one. That's not special. Like, I don't give a shit because somebody, like, there are, and I'm an all-pro voter, and there are people, and look, I'm going to show a little hubris here. I know a lot about football. There are some guys who vote for all-pro that don't know a lot about football, and that are going to vote for, oh, I know this guy, or this guy's been a 6-time all-pro, or this guy's been, I'm just going to vote for him again.
I certainly
don't give a shit about I give a shit about how guys are playing. Milton Williams played at an extremely, extremely high level. The league validated that by his contract. Not only me. Do I think he's going to live up to that contract? I said it pretty consistently. No, I don't. But I'm not. You act like I want to win. He got paid $26 fucking million because of the play he played last season.
I'm aware of that. I don't disagree with that. I think that was a large part because Jalen Carter's coming every single play. He played 98. Whatever
I've told people, Jalen Carter consistently on this show is the most talented defensive player the Eagles have had since Reggie White. I've told people that consistently. He has still not reached his potential. If you're talking about consistency, Milton was more consistent than he was. Now, Jalen has a much higher upside. No doubt about that. Because very few people have ever had the upside of Jalen Carter. And, again, if you want to go to those grades you're citing, Milton was 13, Jalen was 18. I mean, yes. Does Jalen Carter...
You're not leaving out context, though, John.
I'm giving you the context.
It was
Jalen Carter...
what
does that mean? Aaron Donald was number one every year. Nobody's been more double-teamed in the history of football. People recognize double teams.
Okay, but if Jalen Carter gets double teamed, that means Milton Williams has a one-on-one every fucking play. Every play. If he grades out higher than the guy who gets double teamed every play, that would show you that the double team is helping the other guy.
Okay. You don't understand grading of football. Sorry to put it bluntly.
Here we go.
They're not looking at the context of grading, and why it makes it better than stats is because you're grading, and this is, by the way, not even PFF. They do a great job because they know more than most people, but even they don't know what guys are trying to accomplish. So when you're talking about in NovaCare Complex or for Eagles grades for themselves, they're the only ones that have the proper grades because they know what's trying to be accomplished. You're not getting graded down because you're getting double teamed. If you handle the double team and open up something for one of your teammates, you get graded up. That's the context of it. Nobody's getting graded down because they're getting double teamed and not making what a fan would call an effective play. They're getting graded up if they draw a double team and do what they're supposed to do. Jordan Davis, even better example, is a nose tackle. If you're taking up two blockers and enabling to Zach Bond or Nakobe Dean to flow to the football and make a play, you're getting graded up, not down, because you didn't make a play. That's the context of grading. You're not getting penalized because you get double teamed. That's not how it works.
Okay, so is the grading so important that you think Milton was better than Jalen Carter last year?
No, I don't think he was better. What I'm trying to say is he had a tremendous fucking year. And if he was here, you'd fucking acknowledge it. And now you're trying to downplay it.
I didn't downplay it. I've said it 20 times. He had a great year. Why do you keep saying I'm downplaying it?
Because you're sitting there taking shots about me saying I'm comparing Milton Williams to Aaron fucking Donald.
John, the only person who took a shot was you by saying I don't understand football. That's fine. I didn't take a personal shot.
No, what I said is you don't understand grading.
Okay.
You don't. Did you know that?
You've explained it to me, and you haven't moved me off my position. That's not my problem.
Well, it's not your problem because you don't want to listen to what it is.
No, I am listening. I just don't think Milton Williams was irreplaceable.
You think Jalen Carter's getting downgraded because he's getting double teamed. Did you not?
Well, did you not use the context that Milton was graded higher than Carter? What do you mean? I responded to you grading, saying he was graded higher than Carter.
Why are you arguing the point of grading when I explain it to you?
Because you used that he was graded higher than Carter when I said Carter helped Milton.
I used it to say he was higher than Carter to say he had a great fucking year.
Okay. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think Moro Ojomo can be what he was. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Good.
I don't think that down.
We do this show every day. We do this show every day, and you're going to see the fucking difference. You're going to see the difference. You're going to see the difference between Josh Sweat and Jalix Hunt. You're going to see the difference between Darius Slay and whoever wins that job.
Did Milton benefit or not from Jalen Carter last year? Yes or no?
Did Milton Williams?
Did Milton Williams benefit?
Yes.
Okay. Can Moro Ojomo also benefit from playing next to a
Yes.
generational talented player?
Yes.
Okay. That's where I think he's going to have a good year.
I didn't say he wasn't going to have a good year. You were saying he could have the same type of year as Milton Williams. I said, that's crazy. That's, is he going to be the best pass rusher graded by PFF in football? All right, maybe he will be. I will. Believe me, I'll be the first one on this show if he's the best interior pass rusher in football saying that motherfucker had a great year. I'm playing the odds.
Yeah, but
my
is
guess
that, is that the only way to gauge it, whether if he's first on PFF or not?
No, it's
I mean,
not.
I understand that's what we've talked about on this show, but there's certainly other ways to view how impactful a football player is on a team.
Of course there is. Of course there is. Is he gonna play at the same level of Milton Williams? In my opinion, no. Is he going to help the team win a Super Bowl? Probably not. And that's not going to be his fault. Is he going to play like that in the Super Bowl? Well, first you got to get to the Super Bowl. So that's going to be difficult to do as well. So, is he going to replicate an historic season for an interior pass rusher? Probably not. Probably not.
We'll see what happens.
Is he going to make $26 million when he gets to free agency?
Wouldn't surprise me if he has 2 good years next to Jalen Carter like Milton did.
Well, then he'll make more because,
well, yeah,
the salary cap's only going up. But the Eagles aren't going to pay him because they got to pay Jalen Carter.
Damn right.
So you're gonna see what the rest of
which in a way proves my point. I mean, my point is that this system is going to create players, an environment for players to play above what they're capable of, or to play at the best that they can be. Like you always say about coaches, you're not going to change a player, but you can get them to be a little bit better. Playing in the Eagles defense, in my opinion, is going to get a player to play a little bit better. I think Moro Ojomo could be right there.
Well, I think Vic does that with everybody. But I also think that, he's working with a lesser group this year than he was working with last year. I think they're all going to be better than they were.
Remember, this time last year, we thought that was a pretty shoddy group. We had them as the worst linebacker core in football.
Well, and about 100 other people around who cover the NFL. Nobody knew what Zach Bond was going to be. Nobody, even Vic. Even Zach himself. But that is a complete outlier. I mean, that normally doesn't happen in the NFL. But you can point, if you want to point to Zach Bond and assume that, Azeez Ojulari or pick any of the Tamu off signings because, Zach Bond did it. I don't like your odds.
I don't think Milton was that good, man. I don't think he was Zach Bond level good.
I didn't say it was. I'm saying
that's why
you're using the point of Zach Bond to make it like it's normal, and it's that kind of thing can happen.
No,
again.
I'm making the point because I've told you I don't think Milton was this player that is unreachable or unattainable for the next person to reach. I don't think he was that incredible.
I don't think it's unattainable for a lot of people to reach. I think it's unattainable for somebody who's had 400 career snaps or whatever in his second real year playing. That's, maybe 3 years down the road or a couple more years of development, maybe it is possible. I'm saying this year to make that leap. I say the same thing about Jalen Hunt. To make that leap, it just generally doesn't happen. I mean, but I mean, to the point of, the best defensive tackles in football, which are still, the Chris Joneses of the world.
Yeah, for clarity, I think Chris was graded above Milton, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's probably number one. That's what I'm saying.
Told me Milton was one.
No, I'm trying to make a point to the guys who are at that level, which is higher than both Jalen Carter and Milton Williams, the Chris Joneses, the Dexter Lawrences, those guys, Jeffrey Simmonses, Milton doesn't have the potential to reach that. Jalen does. But make no mistake, when Chris Jones is at Chris Jones gets double teamed all the fucking time. Nobody gets more double teamed than Dexter Lawrence. He's a nose tackle. Chris was number 1. Dexter was number 3. Nobody's downgrading you for getting double teamed.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to downgrade Milton Williams. I mean, I think he had a great year. I think that's the one thing you said that I don't think I definitely didn't downplay what he did. I just don't think it's that unattainable. Let's get to some super chats here. Johnny Mac got 22 minutes left to go on the show. Dio said,
I just explained it.
Man, I think he did send this 8 minutes.
No, you don't get downgraded because you're double teamed. You get respect if you're double teamed and you handle a double team. You get, as I just pointed out, Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah. He said before, do you all know how many double teams Milton received compared to Carter?
Okay.
This was before
I don't understand it. Nobody's saying Milton's better than Jalen Carter. I'm the guy who said Jalen Carter is the most talented Eagles defender in 50 years. But because Jalen Carter is good, doesn't mean Milton Williams isn't good. The strength of the Eagles defense was they had tremendous defense. It was actually pretty impressive at all 3 levels. But if you boil it down to the strength, the real strength, it was the defensive front. And it wasn't just because of Jalen Carter. He's definitely the most talented, as I said, but it was because of Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith towards the end of the season. Before that, Brandon Graham was playing at a high level early in the season before he got hurt. It was the number 1 strength of the defense, and you saw that in the Super Bowl. Anybody who watches that Super Bowl and doesn't realize what that front did for the Philadelphia Eagles, I can't help you. Chiefs couldn't block them. Go watch it. You probably watched it 50 times.
That was Milton's highest graded game, but
I'm talking about the group as a whole.
Yeah, no, I know. Sweat, Milton, they all had a great game, no doubt.
Dominated. They couldn't block them. Turned Patrick Mahomes into looked like he was a bad quarterback. How does that happen? It's only one way that happens. Pressure.
Good stuff. JD3 says, don't let this distract you. We have the best tight end 3 in the league. I think ITL means in the league. I don't know about that, JD3. I don't even think he's going to make the damn team.
JD's back up the depression.
And he's got the Ojomo picture on. So I don't know if he's with me or not. BLG and ESP said Ojomo has been beating Dickerson too. Is BLG capping J-Mac?
I don't think he's capping.
I'm surprised you know what capping means.
he lying. They're talking about one-on-ones, and again, one-on-ones. There was a great sort of back and forth. You usually get 2 reps. So the first rep the other day, which I mentioned on the show, Moro really beat Landon, with his speed, and that's his strength. And then the second one, which I mentioned on the show, Landon was like, all right, fuck this, and got the snatch and pull and just completely pulled him to the ground. So if you hear Vic, forget about me. Listen to Vic. When Vic talks about Moro, he always brings up he's undersized. And he just is. So one of their big concerns is, can he hold up? Can he play a lot of snaps? And it's not even about the running game, because Milton wasn't that good in run support either. Javon Hargrave, who's a Pro Bowl player here, not that great in run support. When you rush the passer like Javon did when he was here, when you rush the passer like Milton did when he was here, they'll overlook a lot of stuff. And that's what they hope Moro can become, that type of level of player. but it's probably going to take a little bit of while. And, part of it is he's got to build up to the point that where he can handle the number of reps he's going to have to play. And that, by the way, the secondary part of it is I find it somewhat funny that a lot of the people who want Moro to have this explosive year also want Jordan Davis to have this explosive year. Well, somebody's got to play and somebody's got to sit.
All right. Well, let me just clarify one thing with you. And I'm not trying to get back into a debate with you, but Milton Williams, #1 graded pass rusher last year in football, or pass rush grade.
Interior
pass rush grade, 91.7 all through the year. #2 was Chris Jones. #3 was Cam Hayward. #4 was Jalen Carter. #5, John Franklin Myers. And #6 was Moro.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So you don't think that Moro can cover that gap with a bigger role this year? You don't think he can get that much better to get to where Milton was last year?
No, because part of the problem is he did it in very small sample size.
Definitely smaller than Milton's, no doubt.
Now, it's not even that much smaller. It ended up being about 250 less. But again, this is a part I think people. And I don't know what's going on with my light here, but this is the part I think people like, and this is my concern. Take it off Moro for a second. This is part of my concern with Nolan Smith as well. Even though I think Nolan's a really good player, I think he's going to be fine. But somewhat of a concern. Like nobody's game planning for these guys last year. Nobody. They're game planning for Carter, Sweat, and Milton.
Right.
Now they're going to be game planning for Carter, Nolan,
yeah, no, I see what you're
and
saying.
Whomever.
So Milton did that while being game planned for, versus Ojomo was under the radar and was able to do it.
Yeah, he was a big part of the, and everybody knew again, what type of year was happening, and they didn't do a good job dealing with the Eagles' defensive front. Now, look, hey, maybe Alex Hunt.
Pretty impressive grade, though, from Moro last year, right? You agree? I mean, it was pretty good.
First of all, I think overall, I think Milton was 13, Jalen was 18, Moro was 22. I mean, the Eagles' defensive front was so good last year, and so good, and really so good by the end of last year. I just don't think people appreciate it for whatever reason.
I mean, and look, maybe you're right that the odds would say Ojomo won't get there, but
I say that
Trump, though, as you've made it sound. Moro was good last, and again, you're right. There's other variables. Maybe he takes a step back. Maybe people game plan for him more, but shit, man. I mean, he had a really good year too. I don't think I'm projecting him to be good off of nothing.
I first of all, I've said pretty consistently, if people listen to the show, I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm actually very high on Moro Ojomo. I think I'm very high on Alex Hunt. I think it's unfair where people are pointing to them so early in their careers and comparing them. I mean, the Alex comparisons were just insane. Insane.
I don't know, man. If you told me that Moro was going to be Jalen Carter, I agree. Or Chris Jones, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Well, that's what you did. That's not you. I'm saying that's what people did with Alex Hunt. They compared,
which I agree with. Is way too much, way too fast and dumb.
With Moro, it's not to that degree, but it's still unfair. It's not to, best three pass rusher in the game ridiculous, but it's still unfair. I just first of all, I like Moro personally. I just hate to see people put that pressure on him, number one. But he's got a very high upside. He's a very good player. But if you ask me, and that was can he replicate what Milton Williams did last year, this year? I don't think he can. That doesn't mean he can't become a really good player. It doesn't mean he could become that 2-3 years down the road. But to do it this year and to make that leap, the first time you're playing,
yeah, it's tough. I'll concede with you on that it's tough. But I'll ask you to concede it's not as big of a jump as you made it sound. I mean, he was 6.
Well, I don't think. But again, I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm not the one who compared Jalix Hunt to Micah Parsons. I'm not the one who compared.
I didn't compare Micah.
I'm not saying you did. Jordan Mailata did. I'm not the one who, in your case, compared Moro Ojomo to Milton Williams. If you hear me talk, I say, I think this guy's got a big upside with Moro Ojomo. I think Jalix Hunt has a big upside of a player if he can reach that upside. What I don't do is put these comps on, and people ask me for comps all the time. I think they're unfair. I think they're ridiculous. I think they hurt the player. But to this centric thing, and I say about, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this fan base in general, because I heard it a lot. I get this shit every day. They're like, we lost Milton. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty fucking good last year.
Yeah,
but I say the same thing about Slay.
That's why I'm trying to get you to get. All right, it's a jump. I agree, and you're probably right. The odds would say he's not going to be that.
But I don't say anything that I say the same thing about Slay. I say the same thing about CJ. I say the same thing about Josh. They had a special fucking season. They had a special season. And they had a damn special Super Bowl. That's one I will guarantee. I will put the period on it. If they get back to the Super Bowl, the defense will not play in the next Super Bowl like they played in this Super Bowl. Because that's almost impossible. I will put a period on that, because however many games there are in the NFL, I should know that number. I never know that number because it's always a fixed number. So 283, whatever it is. They played 280 plus games. No one failed to pass the 50-yard line for, I think it was 8 or 9 consecutive drives. No one until the Super Bowl. And the Eagles defense did that against Andy Reid and fucking Patrick Mahomes. That is special. And that is not going to happen again. They might win the Super Bowl. They're not going to do that.
I agree with. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Good stuff. 10 minutes left to go on the show today. We'll wrap it up. Recap real quick. Day number 9, Johnny Mac. Still a lot of defense, man. A lot of defense making plays at camp right now. That's kind of always how it goes in the NFL. But just your last couple takeaways here, John. We got 9 minutes left on what happened today for those who missed it, or for anybody who didn't check in, has just heard us arguing about Moro Ojomo and Milton Williams for the last 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have to argue about Agbo or Okoronkwo. I'm trying to practice his names, and that's the only reason I'm saying that. But yeah, day 10 tomorrow, 3 days in a row, back to back to back. So this is, kind of laughable when you say it's a grind compared to the way it used to be many, many years ago. But now this is a grind 3 days in a row. So, but they're preparing for a preseason game that is probably going to be more important for the defense than the offense. Let's be honest. And that's the whole training camp, because the defense is the one making all the changes.
Right.
The offense is pretty much stagnant except for Mekhi Becton. It's the same offense.
I don't think any of the offense is going to play, right? You don't think Steen will play, do you? No, right?
Nah, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%, but I don't see the value putting him out there without.
Yeah, especially like you said, with maybe potential turnstiles next to him. I don't think it makes it better for him.
I mean, if they play a series, because again, maybe Jalen Hurts wants to play a series, and if Jalen Hurts wants to play a series, the offensive line will come along. I don't see the value in it, but again, when we talked about Joe Burrow, talked to Tom Brady. Tom Brady wanted to play every year in the preseason. If the quarterback wants to play, everybody will toe the line. But I mean, what is the value of 8 plays?
Very little. Yeah. Probably nothing at all at that point. Well, Steve, I think you're right. I think it's mostly defense, and will Vic get his way? That's my question. I said, John, last year,
Vic will get his way because Vic is not. Yeah, Vic is not listening to anybody but him. It's an interesting dynamic. And
I
Vic
think Vic revealed a little bit more about that dynamic this offseason as compared to how we thought about it previously. I thought the comment about Howie picking up Adoree was an interesting one.
Yeah, so did I but to the point, I've kind of explained that to people. Like, Howie makes the decisions on the roster. Like, if it's not like Vic's going to his office and saying, "Hey, sign this guy," or "Let this guy go," or it doesn't work that way. It's all Howie. But when it comes to playing guys, the Eagles give Vic the rope and he'll use it, and he should. And he said, the quote was, which I never got back to, I should have, but I'm spending too much time arguing about a player I like, which is weird. But anyway, you need full speed action to really tell. I mean, out in practice, nobody's getting tackled. You don't know if you've made the tackle or missed it. We're not finishing on the quarterback. We're trying to stay away from them. We need games, meaning preseason games, when you're live and you get the tackle and you get to hit the quarterback. Now, like if that group and Milton and Josh and everybody was back, which is not possible, but in that world, how many guys would play? I think it would be vastly different. I think it's circumstance. I mean, Vic knows when he's got, like, if he still had Slay, he's not worried about fucking Slay. If he still had CJ, might be worried about CJ off the field. He's not worried about him on the field. If he had N'Kobe, not worried about him. He's still trying to evaluate the players at all these positions. If he had Josh, not worried about it. If he had Milton, not worried about it. But, Aziz and Josh, Keeley and Adoree, which he said with Adoree, he's a veteran, but he's new here. He don't know shit about Adoree Jackson. Smile Munden and all those guys, Jahad Campbell getting first team reps. Sydney's got to play to win the job. Tristan's got to play. Andre Sam's got to play. They all have to play.
Should be a fun game on Thursday night. We'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Mac, good stuff today. Final takeaways from Vic Fangio day number 9 on the practice field. Always fun to hear Vic Fangio speak.
Yeah, I was trying to count up how many times he said eliminate the negative ones too when he was talking about plays with the young players. He said it about 5 different players. Eliminate the negative plays. Said it about Uche, said it about Eli, said it about Tristan McCullum, said it about Cindy Brown. Everybody. That's his whole.
Are you seeing these negative plays that he speaks of, or yeah?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and he's right. So he said it again. He said it the last time we talked to him. He said it again when he was talking about Josh Uche. So he said some nice things about Josh. He said, "I think Josh has had some good practices here of late. He's splashed. He's had some really good plays. Like a lot of guys that are new, he just needs to eliminate the negative plays again. And the negative plays aren't something that you guys may see or know. It's just reacting and covering and the way we want to play the run, the nuances of the defense." So, when you see him run over Kendall Lamb, we all go, "Hey, that's pretty impressive." But, if he's not setting the edge or he doesn't drop to his landmark, that's the shit Vic's noticing. And nobody's going to.
Right. It doesn't stick out. Exactly. I know what you're saying.
Nobody can know that. other than Vic are people that understand the defense call, where you're supposed to be. So he's going to put more value on that. If you're consistently in a poor position, he's going to put more value in that than beating Kendall Lamb per sack.
Right.
And I think most people don't get that. But so that's what he was trying to say, and that's what he's trying to figure out with all these young players.
Going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out there, Johnny Mac. John, great show tonight, brother. I think we were due for a little disagreement on
yeah, it's the first time I've disagreed about somebody who I actually like. So Moro, if you're listening, I love Moro Ojomo. But yeah, if I'm being honest, yeah, I think Milton was pretty good last year.
Yeah, good stuff. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We'll catch you in the morning by phone, and then we'll talk to you tomorrow night, 6 to 8, on another nightcap edition of Birds 365. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining us here on Birds 365. Great show tonight, an action-packed show with some energy. We needed a little energy. We needed a little energy on the show. All right? And all you nerds in the chat, you needed it too. You needed it too. Moro Ojomo's coming, baby. J-Mac normally has a way of convincing me on some things. All right? Tonight he didn't. I think Moro Ojomo can be every bit as good as Milton was last year. Maybe the odds would say it's hard to do, but I'm not moved off my position. And I'm sorry, Camel Keese, if you can't believe that. Holy shit. You gotta be kidding me. We were due. I saw Jeff's comment. We were due. We were freaking due. We were due. If we don't get a little of that on Birds 365, I don't know. This show could become a snooze fest. We don't want that. We don't. I just got a tweet from somebody. Did you see that Schwarbaum? Yo, dude. The Schwarbaum. I'm on the show. I'm on the air. Do I look like I'm watching the Schwarbaum? No, I'm not. But good show, man. Great show tonight. All right. Great show tonight. All right. Joe says, here's Joe Whip. J-Mac got a little carried away. I don't think he got carried away. I just feel like he's talking about Moro Ojomo or Milton Williams like this was some unattainable thing, and I don't really look at it as unattainable. But that's all right. Look, he can have his opinion. That's all good. I don't need him to think like I think. Buy in, Zander. All pro Ojomo. I know. Izzy says, J-Mac put me in a blender. Izzy, I didn't really feel like he put me in a blender tonight. I mean, Moro Ojomo is the 6th graded pass rusher. Milton was 1. Milton now went to the Patriots. Moro is still on the Eagles. You really think it's that insane for him to become what Milton was? I don't really think he put me in a blender at all. I mean, he always makes good points. That's one thing I love about John. He always has good, intelligent backing for the reason that he thinks things. Doesn't mean I agree with him all the time, but he does always have good backing. I don't really think that he put me in a blender tonight. And I'll normally admit that. Slager says, well, you have the Z. J-Mac went apeshit about the Eagles being in the Super Bowl and the highest rated D-line and the D-line player in that. Damn, fuck, Slager. I wish I had that, man. That would have been a good. Slager, where were you 20 minutes ago? What the fuck? Where were you, Slager, 20 minutes ago? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. That's funny, though. That is funny. I thought Ojomo was better with his snaps than Milton. Well, I mean, he had lesser snaps, but A-Team, I don't disagree. Look, there's a reason I'm high on Moro. I think he was, and by the way, 7th round pick, guy was not supposed to be this good, this quick. In other words, he's ascending at a faster rate than Milton ascended as a, 3rd rounder, you start here. 7th rounder, you start here. Milton went like this. Moro has gone like this. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to go above where Milton ended up, but Moro has been on a quicker, the slope of that trajectory. Get somebody, an expert in here who knows that shit.
Him and Sills think we underrate Milton, to be fair, but we don't underrate Milton. That's a fake news storyline. Maybe like you could say that about like Slay or one of the other guys. We do not underrate. No, I haven't seen one Eagle fan in anywhere downplay what Milton was. We don't downplay Milton. But do we all think that Milton is not irreplaceable? Yeah, probably. And I don't think we're crazy for that. Jesse, I think Xander Johnny Mac says it doesn't matter what you think. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. All right. Izzy B says JAKIB Team JM. Izzy B is on Johnny Mac's side. Izzy B is loving up on some McMullen tonight. That's good, Izzy B. I'm happy that you love Mr. McMullen. Nice, Bird Gang girl. Made some empanadas. Nice. All right, I got to run. That was a fun show, though. It was a fun show. It was a fun show. Can we get a chat check for a second? So I know if sometimes I like to know if I got my ass kicked. You know, you get back in the grind. You go back to the classroom. You figure out where you went wrong and you improve. That's life, everybody. All right. You get knocked down, you get back up. So I like to know. There's times where Johnny Mac has, yes, taken me to the woodshed. I didn't feel like he did that tonight. What do you guys think? Outside of Izzy B, whose sugar daddy is evidently J-Mac. Look at Camel Keys. Are you kidding me, Camel Keys? I had to fucking rip you to shreds tonight, Camel Keys. I had to rip you to shreds. Guy tried to come in here, spent too much time, Zig. Yo, dog, when you invest all your money, all your time, all your effort in building the channel, you run it however the fuck you want. Holly says it was a push. All right, I can live with that. Lucius says, you held your own tonight. Thanks, Lucius. Appreciate it. You won, Z. All right, that might be a homer. I don't know if I won, but